So we are live.
Oh, we're waiting. Can you hear that? So we're gonna have a 20-second dance party when we have the persons coming in. Until then.
Have we started the dance?
No, we're just evening into it. Yes. So I'd like us to do the box breath. So we're just gonna do 4 inhales in. We're gonna hold that breath for 4. We're gonna exhale for 4. We're gonna hold that exhale for 4 and do it 4 times. Okay, so inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Inhale for 4. And another one that I'll share, that actually was trying, but it's like sort of an automatic way to bring the heart rate down. So it's inhale for 4, you hold for 7, and then you exhale for 8. So it's a little intense. So do it at your own pace. You don't have to hold for 7. We're just going to do a couple rounds. Do a version that feels good for you. But hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here. Let's turn your energy dance party down and take those breathing exercises with me. Before I go and introduce our panelists and myself, I want to give you a brief overview of what the heck we're doing. Okay, not to dwell on the negative, we wanted you to talk about what your obstacle is. All of us have an obstacle, we put it there. We're not going to address them specifically, but we hope throughout our conversation, you will find your obstacle being addressed, whether it's through your vision, your perseverance, or taking care of yourself. Throughout our presentation, we're going to be interactive. The very first thing we will be asking you to do is to talk to each other. Because, as Sochi said, we are a community. And I think that is the most wonderful thing about living is building community relationships. That sound good, people? Can we do that? Woo-hoo, yay! Okay, so let me introduce our panelists. You have the program, of course. But I want to talk a little bit about Kate Maruyama and the many decades, well, not to age. I'm older than you, so it's okay. She has been in the game for decades. And along the line, she's done screenplays, she's done romantic comedies, she's done writing, teaching writing. She has a novel that's coming out through a novella. What's the name of that novel? Through Rick Lodge, called Collective. And it comes out in little spigots, like 2 chapters every Monday. I'm a little resentful because I want it all. I want it all. And we share a publisher her novel, which is called
Alterations.
Alterations will be coming out next year. So, Kate Maruyama. You just met Tracy, and Tracy has been published since she was 18. She too has been doing this for decades, yes. And what she's most, as you can see, she's multi-talented, she's a storyteller. What she's most proud of is she has toured every single year since then. Yay, Tracy. The person I know the best on this panel is Tisha, and we were talking the other day, and if she had a memoir, it would be All My Bad Choices Have Been Rewarded. What's that memoir? And one of the things that I really admire about her is in her mid-40s, she decided to pursue a PhD. And I'm like, oh, you don't want to do that. No, it's done. She is teaching, so yay, Tisha. I forgot to tell you how long she's been writing. I said, how long have you been writing? She goes, well, I've been telling stories since I was 2, although my mom called them lies. Well, what great. So I'm Désirée Zamorano. I have been writing since I was a 3rd grader. But my stories didn't get published until my daughter was born. In my 30s by then. And my novel didn't get published until my daughter graduated college. So that's a long trajectory. And I have that novel that was published 10 years ago will be re-released next year. It's called The Novel. And I have a book coming out this fall called Dispossessed. I'm very excited about that. And I tell you all of this about ourselves to share with you that we have been here for a long time and we're still here. And I love that quote by Octavia Butler. Habit is more dependable. Habit will sustain you whether you are inspired or not. Habit is persistence in practice. We're going to talk about that, and I hope that you will take something from us. And with that, let's start. Okay, so we're going to be covering, first thing I want to talk about, I hope you shared with somebody next to you what you found your obstacle was. So if you haven't, I want you to share with somebody next to you, somebody nearby, find that person, lean forward, lean back. What's your obstacle, and what is your vision for writing? Go.
I don't know.
All right, so somebody give me about 10 seconds to finish up your last sentence, your last thought. So I'm gonna say straight out of the box, one constraint with all of the face is time. And this is a limited session, so please forgive me if I cut off the conversation, because I want to get to the things as well. And I also want to say, come talk to us throughout the day. All of us here are going to be around, and if you have a specific question, we are here. All right, so let's talk about vision. I would like to, I am going to start with Tisha because she had a vision before this. And I want to ask you about vision and writing. It should be on.
If you don't,
It should be on.
I have to talk very quietly now because my regular voice already loud. So this is my inside voice. A vision. Now, most people haven't heard it because I'm usually in a room full of teenagers, but not anymore. My vision actually changed past few years. What is most important to me as a writer is that my cultural and geographical communities can see themselves in my stories. And in order for that to happen, I had to shift from wanting my writing in these pretty prestigious print journals to getting my stories published online. And so my focus shifted so that I wanted to see my work in journals by women, journals by my cultural community, regional journals that were available online so that my tia Alice in San Diego can share it on Facebook with my tío Hector, and he can share it with his friends. And then when I see him at my cousin's funeral, he can be like, Mija, we're so proud of you. Yeah. Because they saw themselves in these stories that I wrote. And along with that, I will just say this. I feel like I get a lot of criticism because my vision does not include getting an agent or having my book published by a big 5 press. I think that's an honorable goal, and I think it's a great goal for anyone who wants that for themselves. My goal, my vision, is to support independent presses and journals throughout the rest of my career. My first novel was published by Inlandia Books. It's called Breaking Patterns, a young adult novel. My chapbook just came out with Bottle Cap Press. And I'm hoping that my 2 subsequent novels in my short story collection will also be published by independent and or university press. So I'm putting that out as my vision.
I'm gonna skip just this one. Tracy, tell us about your vision. And who doesn't like your thoughts? You don't want to get a vision. You don't want to get a vision. I'm gonna beat them up.
Don't beat them up. No violence, Desiree. Sorry, no violence.
Tisha, as soon as you started talking, I was like, well, I'm on the right channel because I feel so much the same. My vision is to bring my whole self into the pages, piece by piece, and sometimes leaning into the intersections, the multiplicity of self. To be honest and clear, and all of that in order to connect with the many people, communities, identities, intersections, experience that resonate with me in my life. And even with the folks who don't relate or don't understand, yet feel an emotional or curious connection with my work. To honor the many influences from writers to musicians, storytellers, and other artists, to activists and elders who have raised me and continue to raise me. To honor the hardest shit, the stuff I need to face by writing through a process. It has already been writing at the essential points that has helped me to survive. And I want to write to and for the ones who are far outside of the considered in many academic and literary spaces, the ones who say they don't like poetry or don't see themselves in the creative space. And this is why I tour as much as I do, because I do believe just one family member, one cousin, one friend, one colleague in another city, another state, another country can connect you with a salon, a bookstore, a library, a group of friends, a Zoom, and every single person will find their audience there. And I want to write for them. I want to write for folks who, yeah, are like, yeah, poetry, you know. I want to be that kind of clear and honest in my content. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tracy. Hey, I think you have a different perspective. You want to tell us?
I just wanted to, anyway, I have an uneasy relationship with the word vision. So I totally admire the vision. I love, Tracy, I've had the honor of seeing you put people in photos and things like that. I'm sort of more of a, I guess I'm more of a pantser or a gardener. And if I get too wrapped up in vision, I end up being sort of disappointed in things that don't happen. So I will boldly declare what I'm doing when I'm writing something. I'm working on a novel now that looks at lifelong friendship and losing it through a lens of color. Like, I'll do that. But I have always been so delighted and pleasantly surprised by everything that has happened or anything that a book has brought. So even with our books coming out this spring, I have no idea. But I know that first book that I had that came out brought me things I couldn't have imagined yet. And Tisha helped bring that book because Tisha was my first writing workshop. And so like taking classes brought me things I prefer to be delighted.
So I very much, you got a handout, very much have a teacher background. And one of the terms of teaching is backwards planning. I need to know what's there and what am I working towards. Just like when I have a short story or a novel, I know in my mind I want the reader to feel upon completion. So goals are very important to me. And probably 15 years ago, I wanted to be a book reviewer, be a published novelist, be a part of the writing team. And I am so grateful that I am. And I needed that vision which shares as a roadmap to me. So I want to think about as you shared your vision with each other, you know, whether it was nebulous, whether it was like that word, what jot down a couple of takeaways from us and maybe a couple of steps towards that vision. What would you go towards that vision? Share with your partner.
Is that the part of the plan back?
Yes,
You wanna
yes.
hand out?
Sorry, that little handout, you can use that, notebook, whatever you like. That's a You can read the handouts, so. Yeah.
But we didn't get one, huh?
Yeah.
Did anybody need one? Are we good? I think we're good. Let's turn it over. Oh, thank you.
Look at this. Thank you. Tracy again. Mike on the roll.
For them.
Hello, hello, folks on Zoom, can you hear me? Where are they saying?
They can hear you.
They can hear me?
Yeah.
And this one, how's this one? Volume is down on this
Still yes.
one. Okay,
Good.
so just make sure that it all sounds.
Yeah. Sorry.
Y'all should hear her do karaoke.
I can't interrupt that, that's good.
I'll sing for y'all later.
So folks, I really do encourage you to talk to somebody about this. I hope you are. I hope you heard something useful here. You know, thinking about obstacles, time management, thinking about having a roadmap. What are you doing? I always think the only thing we're in control of, are the words we put in. So think about that as you think about it. Now, as I brought up that we have been here a while as writers, combined decades, I'm not ashamed. Thank you. No, 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 no.
Those decades.
And we're still standing. And I think that comes from persistence and perseverance. And I would really love it if you chatted with one another. What does persistence and perseverance mean to you? How do you embody that? Or how do you tackle that? So chat with humans.
Her voice.
That's how it does. People like we, I always joke that I right away. I'll start. And not even.
Tisha, what is the topic of discussion?
What does persistence look like? Sachi, do you want to scan the QR code on our handout and put it in the chat? Because then they can access from my Google Drive. No. People on Zoom can access it with Google Drive. I have mine here.
So bring your thoughts to a close in about 20 seconds. We'll come back to the panel, finish your thoughts.
Think that mic is a little low.
You know, part of the goal in you all talking to each other is you're gonna get good advice from the person you're talking to. Is this direct enough, Lisa? Okay. You're gonna get good ideas from the person you're talking to, or you might give them good ideas. So that's what's wonderful. We're up here sharing ideas as well. I'm gonna start with a different person right now. Tracy, talk to us about persistence and perseverance and what that means to you. All right, there's so much to say about this. I wanted to make sure to write some notes. I have to hold patience and trust and honor how much I actually do like to work. Because I work in multiple arenas, it takes time to build in each. So, working on a very large undertaking when I was working on a play, while working on the book, and then organizing in multiple spaces as an organizer while teaching workshops and then touring, but also trying to study about screenplays and then also co-directing my first short film, recording some audiobooks. And then of course, all that within the context of, usual community and family commitments and caretaking responsibilities. So I have to, it's my struggle. I do struggle with that. I struggle with, not time management. I struggle with saying no, because I like saying yes. And I struggle with, the timing of things, meetings and organizing happens at all hours. Caregiving happens at whatever hour. So, I have to be patient. I really have to trust the process. I have to be a bit relentless, and I also have to let things fall away if they need to. Even if it was an idea I was excited about initially. I don't get on myself too much about that. I don't get too bummed. Sorry, I keep having, I'm adjusting to like this having to use with classes. I have to be willing to pause on a project for months or seasons at a time to make space for touring and working on different creative projects. So within a project, I need a lot of time in a day to crank, and I need deadlines to really crank the heat. Sometimes I procrastinate, and sometimes I just need to live. I breathe it in, I fill up, I have conversations with multiple people, and then I get into it. So I persevere through, I think, staying close to people and never isolating myself too much and really engaging. Yeah. So I really link my perseverance to my vision. If this is my goal, if this is what I want, well, this should inspire me to go forward. Doesn't mean every single day I have the same amount of energy. It just means, okay, this is the goal. At some point, I'm going to work towards that. I was sharing with Tracy, one point in my life, there's that thing, write 1,000 words a day. And then some people say, well, I didn't write 1,000, so today I write 2,000. Well, that just makes you even twice as miserable, right? So I would go, oh, I didn't do my 1,000 words a day. I maybe did 200. And my husband would say, that's 200 more than you had before. Like, okay, so honor our accomplishments as well, and that will help us fuel our persistence and our perseverance. And I will get a little more into that with self-care.
Never give up. I had this whole notion when I first had kids that there was a thing called balance. And once I accepted that every day was chaos, I actually got way more productive and happier, because the idea that I hadn't written one day as being a failure was like foolish and stupid. And also, if you have a lot of days where you haven't written because of caretaking, I did a lot of that summer. So I would go to, Tracy had writing Wednesdays, and I would go there and honor my writing self by doing the prompts that were there. I tell my very busy working students to, find that 15 minutes in which you're honoring your writing self, instead of thinking the 1,000 words a day. I said to Tracy, yeah, but are they good? That's always like, instead of saying, I will get on top of this. It is good to keep goals and to say that I need to honor my writing self. If I don't, it withers, I get crabby, and nobody wants to live with me. So I will sneak away and write, and sort of taking it as stolen time and joy, but never giving up. And I was talking to Tisha about that weird time after lockdown when it wasn't really safe to super congregate all the time. I realized that I at the time had an agent who I fired. That was the best thing I ever did. And who wasn't waiting around for someone to do things for me, wasn't anything. Thanks to the good people who went to submit and the meeting to submit online regularly, I realized that this had to be part of my practice as much as my writing practice. And also friends who kept us going. Our friend Tony Ann Johnson would call me up and say, what's going on with Rose and Adriana? And their characters in this novel that had not sold for years and years and years. And she's like, they're good, get them out there. And that is now the book that's coming out with Désirée 10 years after.
No, but then I hear Tony Ann's voice when you say that, so totally.
When you just heard Kate's voice say that, because that's what she used to say to me. We were in my last workshop, when we were at Antioch together. I wrote a short story about a girl who competes in rodeo events, and Kate's like, that needs to be a YA novel. Okay, Kate. And so, as some of you have heard me say before, she nagged me until I actually wrote that YA novel that has since been published. So thank you, Kate. Gotta appreciate the friends who help you through the persistence. In addition to being a writer, I'm also an educator. I was a high school teacher for almost 20 years. And as Désirée pointed out, I left to go pursue a PhD, and I'm now teaching creative writing classes at various, I'm adjuncting at different colleges, but also teaching them out of my own, creative space. And one of the things that I often tell my students, both high school and college, is that I don't believe in writer's block. And you may, and that's okay, you can have different beliefs. But I believe that any obstacle we face can be overcome. That what we have to do is use the available resources, the people around us, the strategies that we've maybe learned and forgotten or we haven't practiced in a while, in order to go over it or under it or around it or through it. And for me, that's how I see my persistence. I follow fellow Macondista. For those of you not familiar with the Macondo Writers Workshop, check it out. Fellow Macondista Nelly Galan on Instagram. If you don't know Nelly, I highly recommend following Nelly. It just so happened that after Désirée and Tracy and I met to talk about our plans for this, I saw Nelly post about persistence, and she reminded me about consistency. And like Kate, there were times in my life when I couldn't write every day because I taught high school every day, and there were hundreds of teenagers dancing around in my head. And I think that consistency looks different at different points in our lives. And that persistence means that you have to be willing to change your plan to fit into the life you have. I couldn't just keep writing on weekends and breaks when I went to grad school, because writing became my every single day job. Those of you interested, fully funded PhD program at the University of Southern California, the best kept secret in Southern California. It's not a lot of money, but I made it through 6 years, and I was able to write every day. And I tried to keep that momentum going. And again, I'll have to adjust now that I have a new schedule in the fall. So I think persistence is also about having that willingness to adjust depending on what's going on in your life.
Tracy, did you want to tell me a little more about writer's block or the firm? Yes, I feel that so much. I feel it so much that I once did a workshop that it was like a 3-part series called No Such Thing as Writer's Block. Because I really believe that we're like living through things. After my father passed, I couldn't write about him for a year. And I kept this weird journal in a kitchen drawer. And I would just write maybe a line or a word, and I just couldn't do it. And it was like, but I think the thing about, I just want to affirm that it doesn't do us any good to self-flagellate, to like get on ourselves, that whole thing of like, oh, I didn't get up at 5 a.m. like so-and-so to write 2 hours before they went to work. I didn't wake up till 9. You know what I mean? Oh, I didn't write every day. I used to pore over these schedules by like the most famous writers and these folks who would write like Miyazaki like 8 to 5. Maya Angelou would go to a hotel Monday through Friday. You know what I mean? I was like, but that's not my life.
Right.
That's not me. That's not my life. So just be flexible and move through and live and fill up and know and trust the process. Learn that so much through theater. Trust the process. And it's going to be different every time, even if you're working on things simultaneously. So.
And part of that process is being frustrated, and also with the notebook that you were keeping about the thing you weren't ready to write yet. You may be not writing one thing, but that doesn't mean you're blocked. Go write something else. Keep those mechanisms just oil.
And Tracy says, don't feel bad, no self-flagellation. I also do not believe in writer's block. Get offline. block the access to the internet, hide your phone, write longhand, do something different. Get off the social media, just make us feel bad anyway. So Tisha, I'm gonna hand it over to you because we're at the halfway point. We're gonna be doing some, it's on you, my dear.
You can stay, it wasn't, I know, and I was gonna print out the list because I have the memory capacity of a gnat. I have notes on paper, I know what it was,
But before you do, can you explain to them the handout?
Yeah. So, before I do my physical demonstration, I should hold the microphone right here, shouldn't I? It's gonna be hard for me to do that. I'm not gonna hold one. So you have this handout in front of you, and if you'll notice the underline, well, underneath all of our names, and on the back, some resources that we'll talk about when we get to this, further into this self-care part. On the back, there's a QR code. And the QR code is there so that if you want to use this strategy later, mine got wet in the car. That's why you shouldn't eat your breakfast. That's fine. I have my notes on. I have my notes. But you can see the QR code on your own. I'm that teacher. My breakfast got on. If you want to use this strategy in any way later, that handout is available for you through my Google Drive. But also, when you go to that PDF, you can click on our names and that will take you to each one of our Instagrams. And on the back, those resources are all hyperlinked so that you can access those resources for yourself at home later on. So that was one thing I wanted to point out to you. And so I want to start about halfway. You can stay seated. This is meant to happen staying seated, but my chair is not comfortable. And I don't sit still very well. People on Zoom, you see me like basically fidget the whole time. I just don't. I don't stand still well. So I'm gonna have Kate hold this. And I'm gonna stand so that everyone can see. I'm gonna have you sit up straight if you can. If you're holding something, maybe set it on the ground. I don't want you to spill anything. We don't want to make a mess in the theater. One of the things that I try to do partway through my practice, Hazel, step ahead of me here, is I tend to carry a lot of my tension in my neck. How many tension neck people? Yeah. It's because we tend to do this. Yeah. All day long. And any of you who've ever seen a chiropractor know that after a while, you're gonna get the walla right here. Like, you're gonna get the humpback right here. I was a teacher, like I said, grading papers like this. And then sometimes my head will fall forward and I'll poke myself in the eye, except my glasses blocked it. So we're gonna do a little neck stretch, okay? You're gonna roll your shoulders back. You're gonna lift your, my right arm up, and you're just gonna lightly, don't hurt yourself, lightly stretch your neck and have your left hand, if you can, pointing toward the ground. You get a little stretch in your neck. I usually do it for a count of 10. And then I shift my hand to right behind my skull and do it at a little bit of an angle. Oh, wow. Don't hurt yourself. And then I drop my right hand and let my chin fall forward to my chest. Always being mindful of your breathing. Lift your head back up. And then repeat that on the other side. So your left hand up. And I usually touch that bone right above my ear and just stretch it. Make sure the other fingers are reaching toward the ground. Okay, give you a chance to do this with this. And then right there at the base of your skull and pull it at a little bit of an angle. And then drop your chin to your chest. And then my other favorite, and then you can lift your head back up, take another deep inhale and exhale like Tracy taught us. My new favorite one that I just started doing, and I also like it because it's called cactus arms. Those of you who know me know I'm from the desert, I'm of the desert, is you lift your arms up and you have space around you, just make sure you don't whack nobody. And then your arms are gonna face your palms forward. And then as you exhale, you're gonna put your arms down like this, and back and look up. We're gonna do this 4 times. Up, inhale, and then exhale down. Up again. And then the 5th time up, I'm going a little faster than I normally do. And then have them go straight down, and do you feel the blood flow into your fingertips? Yeah, you do. That little bit of movement will really energize you throughout your practice. And while I have the mic, if any of you still have your obstacles on Post-its that you have not placed on the chart paper, now would be a great time to do that. If you want it to be entered into a drawing for door prizes at the end, make sure you have printed your name neatly on the back.
Thank you, Tisha. I feel particularly energized. I hope you all do, and I'll be taking that exercise with us. Right now, chatting with that person or a new person, however, whatever you're comfortable with, we are going to talk about self-care. So chat with each other. What do you do for self-care? What would you like to be doing? Go ahead.
If you have a Post-it, Edie, or if you want a Post-it, Edie's here. Anybody else need a Post-it?
All right, take a few seconds to finish up your line of thoughts. And I realized I forgot something with our handout. If you had something that you wanted help with persistence, please jot it down in your handout. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about self-care. Hey, take a look.
Oh, no. I have started to realize that I cannot process all of the problems of the world and all of my friends' updates on their social media and everything that is coming in and the information from my family and still write. And so I have really started monitoring, that sort of intake. My brain doesn't have that deep writing capacity when I'm juggling all these million things. And I tend to care about people very deeply, which I think most writers do. I think it's sort of how we're wired. So carrying it, when Tisha said carrying all these high schoolers dancing in her head, she was not wrong. I just got off teaching at CISA, which is California Summer School for the Arts. And I had probably 30, 40 students who I knew very well in their stuff, worrying about them, like catching them in the hall and all that stuff. So we were talking about, I said overscheduling is my biggest obstacle. And Tisha was talking about how we just need to do smarter scheduling. I also offer my services a lot to people, and I have a dear friend's kid who is a good friend of my son's, who I have offered my services for his applications for medical school. And I said to him very clearly at an event, I'm free this week. This is a good week. But he calls me last night before a very busy weekend. So it's sort of like self-care does involve saying no once in a while. And definitely feeding myself friends. And doing things that I enjoy, like cooking things that chill me out. I garden a lot. And I'll do that instead of other stuff. And I have been saying no to more social, and so that people look at my Instagram and they're like, you're so busy. But there are some things that I just don't have the bandwidth for anymore.
Yep.
So taking time and space is important somewhere.
Thank you. Tisha, want to share with us?
I can.
Do that.
So in addition to what Kate and I talked about, as a high school teacher, I did not take care of myself very well. I was sick a lot. And so when I left the classroom in 2017, my two main self-care practices that I have continued to this day, so it's now been 7 years, are exercising twice a day, every day, which is, I realize, is a luxury. I get up and alternate between yoga and strength training in the mornings, and then I do some kind of cardio almost every night. And I committed when I was in grad school to 8 hours of sleep. And I'm a night person. Those of you who've been around me know that I used to very much be up until all hours, sometimes doing nonsense, sometimes writing, sometimes reading, but sometimes nonsense, social media nonsense, right? Like I didn't need to be doing that after midnight. But I did commit to the 8 hours a night throughout graduate school, and I've kind of gotten out of that practice. So it's my new self-care, renewed that goal of sleeping more frequently. And I also sometimes, I don't nap well. I know a lot of people are nappers. I'm not good at it. I'll wake up all I've got a hangover. But I did buy an acupressure mat. Very affordable, bought it online. It has little picos, how you call it? Like little pokey things. And it goes from my low back to my shoulder. So it's not about this long, rolls up, has a little pillow that goes under my neck. And I lay on that and do my legs up the wall because it's supposed to help with circulation. And it's just a nice little break in the afternoon when I tend to feel kind of sluggish. So that is one of my self-care practices. And then finally, two things. I don't drink coffee, which people who've been around me are like, how is that even possible? Because I'm usually like this, like I'm pretty amped most of the time. I'm a tea drinker, and it's genetic. My dad's a tea drinker. My favorite teas, and I know this is so cheesy, but I'm so gonna embrace it. I like the Yogi brand teas because they have little quotes on the tea bag, on the little tag thing. And this morning,
Part of the door prize, is that correct?
yes, I made you Tisha tea trios as one of our door prizes. So if you are so fortunate to get a tea trio, Desiree's like, wait, save me one. But I thought it was really serendipitous. Is that the right word? Am I using that word right? That today my morning tea, which is a positive energy tea, also known as I don't want to punch anybody in the face tea. I shouldn't say things like that. But my tag said, relate to your greatness and not your weakness. I'm going to say it again in case you want to write that down. Relate to your greatness and not your weakness. And once in a while, some of them are kind of don't really apply to me, or they say things that are kind of weird. But when that one came up this morning, I cut the tag off. I have scissors right there by my tea drawer. I cut it off, and I will use it as a journaling prompt because that's my last thing. Relate to your greatness and not your weakness. And so that's the last thing that I'll share as part of my self-care is I try to reflect on my writing process, my creative process, and on my daily progress of self-care almost every night. When I taught high school, I used to call it a brain dump. I would have the students come in and I would say, dump out whatever's bothering you. Like you're taking a big dump. All the crap needs to come out on the page so that you can focus on what we need to do today. And so I do that in my journal, and that I think is really helpful for my sleep.
Beautiful, beautiful. So many physical and mental exercises here. And I'm also going to say, Tisha's brain dump is supported by research. One of our resources is the How of Happiness. If you are a persevering person and you keep on going through this mental loop, writing it down is going to help you purge it. More in the book. I love that Tisha brought us a lot of physical things. I want to talk a little bit about mental. Kate mentioned she's in a bad mood when she doesn't write. Who relates? Okay, so if we're talking about self-care, we got to get the writing done. That's got to be part of it. And I want to talk about years and years ago, a financial book said, pay yourself first. People, put your writing into your day first or into your week first. I know time is short. I know you have a lot of pressures, but this writing is a form of self-care. And that's what we are in charge of. All right, we all know the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I won't go through all of them, but what he says is do the most important thing first. Hey, who gets to decide what the most important thing is? You do. So take control of that.
Are there any teachers out here? Yeah, so guess what? If you happen to be teaching writing, I have an impossible job this summer. I was not going to be writing anything. I gave them all a prompt and I wrote it myself.
Yeah.
And every prompt I gave, I aimed at my novel. Now I did that when I had a really good. It's totally cheating. It's not cheating. The next long draw novel I have that I'll be looking for an agent with was probably half composed in writing class
Yes.
with my students. So.
Smarter scheduling, Kate.
Bring it home, Tracy, bring it home. I love that. I think that that's like efficiency and it's modeling, right? Because we can't give people prompts and not put ourselves through these prompts. Yeah, and then I just want to, I'll say one thing, you know, in terms of like where we're at in this flow is like, if people who've written with me know that I love the 2-minute exercise, sort of the brain dump, right? So really like, if you feel like you're getting a block, if you feel frustrated, if you feel unmotivated, if you feel like you just can't get in, just to show up to your desk and then do a 2-minute time writing exercise. Have somebody pick a color for you, or if you're by yourself, point around to the room, point at something and see that one word and then write for 2 minutes and just let yourself get into the flow. You cannot stop writing for 2 minutes. You have to breathe while you write, but don't stop writing. And it's not speed writing, it's just continuous writing. And it helps me innumerable ways, innumerable times. But yeah, and you will find you want to write more.
Yeah.
So what I wrote down for myself for how I care for myself, I always start in here, people, always people. I don't live with the reality of being able to leave my family and communities and bounce for long periods of time. And at the same time, I'm grateful to be grounded in community. Art is my how, community is my why. I'm learning really slowly to slow down and not stack each day the way I used to. I try not to arrange things before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I try to wake up when I wake up. I spend time out in the backyard. I paint and engage in creative performance not meant for making money or my career per se. I sing and dance all the time. So, you know, something I like to do if I'm like doing a stretch at the desk and I just feel it. Like, I think that's a thing, like, yes, I appreciate that, like, do the most important thing first or write first. At the same time, everyone's different. I'm a nocturnal person. So I think it's like really finding our center, being really close to our intuition and really knowing ourselves. And if you're like, I'm a nocturnal person, I write really well, like at 2 o'clock and at 9 o'clock, or you know what I mean, whatever it is, like, just to be good with that, know yourself and be flexible with that. And yeah, I feel like it saves me every time. And oh yeah, so if I am kind of like, I don't even call it a block, it's just more like being close to my center. So if all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I gotta sing, I'll leave my desk and I go sing, you know what I mean? Or, you know, I don't get into the thing of like, oh, I'm a writer, I'm not a painter. Like, I paint, I do some painting. My friend Doug comes over, we paint, you know, we just chat a little, we paint. And we're both writers, you know what I mean? So, you know, we're not trying to sell our paintings. We just do it. And so to just trust that we are creative beings in so many multiple ways, just like every human. So I don't like locking myself into like, I'm this and this and this. You know what I mean? I'm an artist. I'm a person, I'm a being, so I must create. I find spaces to co-work and write with friends. I'm really big on co-working, even if it's a Zoom co-work. I collaborate. I love to collaborate. I think that there's something fruitful about group processes, or even, again, if it's co-working with a friend, and then like just the conversation that happens. I engage in spiritual study and practice and pursue conversations with folks of different faith and spiritual backgrounds. I don't know, I put that in there, and that might sound a little like left field, but I just think, again, I'm a creative being and I'm a spiritual being. I'm not religious per se, but I'm curious, you know what I mean? I'm craving conversation. And I think there's something about speaking with folks from really different practices and walks of life that also is stimulating, and it's a form of care for me. I think on death a lot, and it keeps me in a really grateful place. I think about gratitude every day throughout the day. And I read and fill up, you know, but again, it comes back to people. Like, I don't believe in isolating myself. Sometimes, yeah, I have to be like, babe, I gotta go on a writing retreat. Are you good for 4 days? You know what I mean? I'll go Joshua Tree. You know what I mean? And she's like, okay. And so, you know, so, but it's just like, it moves differently. Every season's different. Every month is different. Every week is different sometimes. So, yeah, just to trust, really trust your process. I guess that's the thing, trust your process. Thank you. So you've heard from us. I hope you have some takeaways that you want to jot down on your little handout. And I want you to thinking of your vision, thinking of self-care, thinking of persistence, maybe take a moment or two to think about your own personal action plan. Go ahead and work on that for about 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we'll open up to questions and answers. Okay, so put 2 minutes on the action plan. See about 30 seconds. For those of you on Zoom, please share your action plan in or your thoughts in the chat, and Alyssa will respond. We're going to do something a little different here. And you are welcome to continue working on your action plan as we go through Q&A. But our members here are really committed to give you time to ask us some questions. So here we are. We are ready for you. And you can find us throughout the day also.
Yes, I just want to interject, Tracy, did Tuesday night, cafe 25 years ago, created an open mic, so expertise in that, and Tracy is also, in theater, I think just sharing other things that.
Remind us we are complex human beings. Okay. Here you are.
Dee Dee's here to help with the mic. I have some from the Zoom.
From Giovanni, with regard to perseverance, can panelists talk about strategies for getting out of your own way?
Getting out of your own way. Trying to keep it simple because that can feel and be overwhelming. So I like to trust in something that's practical, concrete, and immediate. So I go back to that 2-minute writing exercise just to let myself channel a flow. I believe in timed writing time. So if it's something that is emotional, psychologically hard to face, which I definitely went through a lot in this last project. So it felt scary to write. I would just set my alarm for 27 minutes and see it as a well that I was going to dive into, knowing that in 27 minutes, I had an out. If it was really scary, I would write, sometimes I'd take my laptop to the bed or my journal to the bed, and I'd write next to Joyce, even if she was sleeping, just to have that sort of like energy protection, you know what I mean? So like, just really practical ways to not think and just do. So that 2-minute writing, I always say, don't think, just write. Just trust you, trust your process, trust your brain, trust your body. Things will come out if you let it.
Leave the housework till after writing. I don't care if the sink's full of dishes. If you find my house very clean, you can know the writing is not going well. And also tell all those demons in your head who are telling you you're not good enough to sit down and shut up. There's no space for them in the process of writing. And the one thing that keeps me going is saying, this is terrible. I can take it up later. And hi, Giovanni.
Oh, my goodness, thank you, remind me. We didn't talk about that inner editor, okay? I think all of us suffer from an inner editor. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself, and that is a part of self-care. Talk to yourself like you would your best friend. Don't talk to yourself in a mean way. It is not encouraging, it's demoralizing.
And there's an article on my website called Demons, which I wrote for my MFA class, that uses a lot of swear words, and I've named all my demons, and there are ways to kill them each.
I was just gonna say, the one way that I get out of my own way is to give myself permission to move and shift. We were at a writing workshop, and the room we were in felt small and stuffy, so I went and stood out in the lobby of the auditorium at a tall table. Sometimes I need to stand, like changing your physicality. Some people work better outside. My friend Rachel and I prefer nature adjacent, so I want to see it, but I don't want to breathe it on it.
One thing I'd like to add too is like to just think about repeated patterns in action and behavior. So if you're feeling like, oh, I'm stuck or I'm in my own way, I know it. Try something completely different for yourself in that moment at some point in that day. Meaning, if you never go for a drive before writing, go for a drive. Go into a bookstore and go to a section that you never go into. Go read a page from a financial book. just do something different. And I say this from sort of, folks who do acting. There's a Meisner technique where, or this comes from kind of the school of Meisner, where it's in a scene between two people, one person's motivation is to go to do something. They are going off to fight a war. And the other person's motivation is to convince that person not to do that thing. And every time they try to convince that person going to war refutes whatever is coming at them. So the first person who's trying to argue against has to try something different every time. And so, and what that does, when you repeat the action and you just keep trying something different, it will bring something completely different out of you. And so I apply that to writing and other creative processes where it's like, I keep doing the same thing. So let me try to knock myself out of my box right now. And I'm gonna just try something completely left field. And just to get myself moving in a different way, thinking in a different way, you know what I mean? So like, just trust that too, right? Just try something different. That was a great question. Thank you. Great answers. We have time probably because we do want to get to the door prizes. We have time for probably one more rich question. We have one more on Zoom. You all too want to get to the door prizes. Go, Hazel.
You all, I think you've shared some, but do you all have like a funny writer's quirk or habit or little ritual that you do? I feel like you've shared some, but.
Do you all have a funny writer's habit, quirk or ritual, besides crime?
I'll go, because it is related to the door prizes. I will, a friend of mine that I met at the University of New Mexico Writers Workshop, after our time together, gifted me a black candle because burning a black candle is supposed to be, helpful for change. And so one of our door prizes today is the black candle.
Well, what I thought about immediately when that question was said was, yeah, that's the court. So I have like a large wooden kitchen cooking spoon. And I haven't done it in a while, but I used to I love wood, and I love the way that the spoon part will feel against my cheek. And so, it's really weird. So I'm a weirdo and I'm so proud of it. So, but I would leave this kitchen spoon, it's near my desk, and I just kind of like would touch my face with it and like soothe my face and walk around my office and walk around the house or wherever, there's something, I don't know, just, maybe people think they do the fidget spinner. My thing is like a wooden spoon. Very gently against my face.
That's word.
I'm gonna add this here because I forgot to mention it before. I need a writers group. I need a community. My brain was blank for a while, and because of a friend that said she created a writers group, I now have a short story collection coming out because there was a need. I need cheerleaders in my life. So that is my form of self-care and my quirk. If I would really encourage you to surround yourselves with people who support your vision and not listen to people who negate your vision. And with that, let's get some exciting door prizes. Woohoo!
Okay, so I'm gonna start. I have 5 reflection. It has the Octavia Butler quote on the front. So I have 5 of these. If I call your name, you can come up and grab one of those. Okay. This one has no name, so I'll draw another one. Stephanie.
Let's give our panelists a round of applause. Come down. Daria, come down. Stephanie, come down.
Looks like that says Heidi.
Heidi, come on down.
Looks like that says Mona.
Mona will keep that for you.
I don't know, it just said Mona.
Whose Mona's here? Is there
Did
another
you
here?
put your first and last name? Where's the other Mona? Did you put your first and last name?
I don't think
Hazel.
either of them are in the room.
Hazel, come on down.
You didn't put, it said put your name. I mean, I should have said first and last name. All right, and then I have 5 candles, Melinda. Whoa. Melinda.
I don't do that.
Okay, pose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, take it.
I'm gonna need another one for my nose. Did you already draw one?
I have a not yet published, book by Chi-Wan Choi that ended up in my trunk for Rebecca Renard.
Another candle for
Wow.
Jasmine.
Jasmine, Rebecca.
And I have a copy of, two novellas for. She's already got one, so I'm gonna,
Give it to Tisha.
yeah.
I'll take it out of the bag as I count it.
Linda,
No, no, wait,
Linda
no,
Lopez.
you can come with yours.
Linda Lopez, come and get a candle.
And Katie.
Sorry. This is me.
Kate, I didn't mean rapid, sorry.
Kate C. Kate
Katie
C.
Jarvis.
Great.
Yeah.
So I made a homemade mosquito repellent that has like about 20 different essential oils. I tested it up in, the Northern California border. It works. So it's pretty fun, and, I'm calling this one Manifest. It's gonna be fun.
Carmen.
That's for.
It's for,
Hey,
two
look.
novellas.
Sasha.
Lori.
It's Manifest. Wellness against disease.
Friend.
Oh.
Fratelli. I was trying to, remember what you told me earlier, Fratelli.
Yes, thank you, I love tea.
Yeah. Does he have a book?
I do. So, oh, there's no name on this. Oh, shoot.
Gabrielle. It's right.
Okay.
Lauren.
Okay, so yeah, I have a copy of my book. I got a little water on the back this morning. I'm so sorry. Yeah, limited edition. One of a kind. You got it here at the Women Who Submit Conference. All right. That goes to June.
Honor. Team Trio.
Honor.
Yeah, I understand.
This is the wrong route.
Where's
Oh,
my,
yours
where's the other
is
one? Where's
It was Ramona.
Oh, somebody did
Ramona might have
leave.
left.
You can live, you can give her one of those.
Give that more. And then, I brought some, I always have stickers, for my merch, but I wanted everyone who came to the panel to come and, you're welcome to get one. It's, poetry by any means necessary, or love by any means necessary, or solidarity by any means necessary. So you can choose one, and while you're up here, a contingent of us went to Tulsa this year as part of the Black Wall Street Legacy Fest. And there are a bunch of us really dedicated to reparations work. And so there's this campaign called Justice for Greenwood. This is a call for the Attorney General to launch a federal investigation into the 1921 Roots Massacre that was never federally investigated because the government wasn't involved. So really would love for you to fill this out and give me, you can keep the purple part and give this back to me and we'll turn this in. Yeah. So come and join us. Our time is up. Talk to us throughout the day. Thank you so much.
And then anyone who wants other stickers, please come up and get some.